Wake was 12-13 a year ago, but did get a berth into the NCAA tournament. The game will take place in Winston-Salem. Nebraska has yet to release their full non-conference schedule. Turning to the Olympics, Simone Biles captured the bronze medal on the balance beam earlier today at the Games in Tokyo. Some of the team sports, the U.S. men's basketball team advanced to the semifinals with a 95-81 win over Spain. The United States will face Australia in the next round. The U.S. women's basketball team will play Australia tonight in their quarterfinal matchup. The USA women's volleyball squad tangles with the Dominican Republic tonight in a quarterfinal match. In beach volleyball, former Husker Sarah Pavin, who competes for Canada, saw her Olympics come to an end, losing her quarterfinal match earlier today. In the medal count, the United States still leads with 73 total medals. China is second with 69. China has the advantage with 32 golds compared to the United States, 24. Turning to baseball, everything under the lights in the major leagues. Philadelphia has jumped ahead of the Nationals 1-0 in the first, just getting underway. Baltimore at the Yankees. Cleveland in Toronto to battle the Blue Jays. It'll be the Red Sox in Detroit to take on the Tigers. Seattle and Tampa getting underway down in Tampa. Also the Twins on the road tonight in Cincinnati to battle the Reds. It'll be the Mets and Marlins getting together in Miami. Angels and Rangers later tonight. Royals in Chicago to take on the White Sox. Also the Pirates will face the Brewers in Milwaukee. Braves in St. Louis to tangle with the Cardinals. Cubs and Rockies get together in Denver. Padres and Athletics squaring off in Oakland. The Giants in Arizona to face the Diamondbacks. And a rematch of last year's World Series, the Astros and the Dodgers in Los Angeles. That's tonight's Sports Ticker. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends a pass, made Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the fifth. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome. Here we are, Tuesday Night Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network. Hope you had a good day today. Beautiful outside, right? What a gorgeous summer day. It was also the first practice day for Husker soccer as they get out on the pitch for their first practice. They'll have an exhibition match a week from tomorrow out at Hibner Stadium. Husker volleyball will have their media day on Saturday, their first practice session over the weekend. And as I mentioned in the ticker, Husker football with a day off, back on the practice field tomorrow for practice number 5. We got a big show coming your way tonight. Ryan Held, Husker running backs coach, will join us here in a couple of minutes. We'll break down his room. That is a room that's probably the most talked about room for Husker football here in the offseason. We'll get his take on what his guys look like, what he thinks is going to happen with that group. So looking forward to our chat with Ryan coming up in a few minutes. Hour number 2, Brett McMurphy of Stadium Sports will be with us. He's one of the preeminent college football writers. He has been all over this realignment story, the college football playoff expansion story. In fact, Jessica, he put out a pretty funny tweet about an hour ago. It says, if you're keeping track, so far we have the following reports just this afternoon. KU to the Big Ten is imminent. West Virginia is in official talks with the ACC. Louisiana Tech and Louisiana are going to the Big 12. Florida State and Clemson officials contacted the SEC about joining that league, and the ACC will raid the Big 12. All within the last couple of hours. How about that?
How are we ever going to get all of that in with him in just a 20-minute interview with him? But, yeah, lots to talk about. And it's funny how in the KU report, it came out, and then the guy walked it back pretty quickly.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably got some calls from Lawrence going, what'd you get? A KU guy who I had not heard of was on a radio station in Kansas City a couple of hours ago and said that he's got it on good sources that it's the bid to the Big Ten is imminent. Apparently not. So
Yeah, that came out. It started blowing up, and boy, he came back real quick. And supposedly he heard the news on like a message board, on a chat board of fans talking about it. And then he said he's going to go research it a little bit more. Well, maybe you should do that before.
Yeah, before you go on a radio station and announce
Put that
it to
out
the
there.
world. Yeah, where everybody's going to jump all over that. Something that is official is the commissioners of the Big 12 and the Pac-12 did talk today. They had a call. Whether they're trying to forge an alliance, a scheduling alliance, I don't know. They did talk. That is official. Both camps are saying, yeah, we did. We had a conversation today. Maybe Brett can shed some light on that. I will tell you that the thing that has made me kind of nervous, Jessica, are these rumblings and rumors, and I don't know if it's just smoke, of Florida State and Clemson maybe dabbling with the SEC. If that happens, oh my goodness, I think that's, along with Oklahoma and Texas, that would be a huge shakeup.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like so much unknown, and where are we going? And there's a new report, a new rumor every single day. And now you got teams like Clemson thinking we're going to miss out with Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC. Are we going to 2 power conferences? I don't know. I mean, what is the direction? But it's someone I feel like needs to step in and figure out what are we doing here. I mean, can we change this? Can we stop this train before it really gets off the tracks?
Yeah, if that were to happen, I think that would force the Big Ten to make some kind of moves. Right now, and I've kind of been in the camp that I don't think the Big Ten's going to do really anything for a while, but if Clemson and Florida State make a jump, yeah, I think the Big Ten's going to have to do something. So we live in crazy times, don't we?
It's crazy. I mean, it's like, and I remember the first time around, it was wild, but then it's like now, like the super conferences people were talking about, well, it's probably going to happen in the future, but I didn't realize it was going to happen this quickly, and so here we are, and those Power 5 conferences seem so stable, or pretty stable 10 years ago once they got set, and now it's like, changing as we know it, and will never be the same.
Crazy stuff. So we'll continue to monitor that, and then none better to give us some inside information than Brett McMurphy. We'll have him on at the top of hour number 2. We also had a chance yesterday to catch up with Chris Kolarovic, the transfer from Northern Iowa, adding some depth to that Husker inside linebacker position. We'll talk to him coming up in the second hour of the program as well. And we want you to be a part of the discussion, 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. Again, we are also video streaming our show these days. We have a YouTube channel. There's an active chat room in there, and if you want to get in there, and some of those folks have become best buds, I think, over the last few weeks. They get in there pretty much every night and share their own thoughts back and forth. But if you want to get a chat or a question to Jessica and I, you can do it that way as well. Wonder what the guys did today. No practice. I'm sure they slept in, probably caught up probably took a nap, did a little bit of that today.
Yeah, no, but a lot of them came in here and on their own and got some film work in, got some work done with the training staff, maybe got some food, and chatted with Dave Ellis about what they need to do with their weight and figuring that out, because that's going to be constantly monitored, especially with the heat wave coming in.
Yeah.
So
going to be hot again this weekend.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So getting their bodies right before they put the pads on.
I'm sure there was some treatment. I know they haven't been in pads yet, but when you're out there running, you've stretched your muscles a little bit more than just what you did in the summer for conditioning. So I'm sure you're right. There probably was some treatment, and you got to eat. A guy's got to eat, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they came in and got some food during the day.
And film study, we've heard a lot about that, especially, from some of those linebackers talking about how they've really been diving in, and I bet a lot of them were up here kind of going over some practices and reevaluating kind of what they did in those first 4 days.
So back at it tomorrow. In fact, the media is going to be allowed in tomorrow for the first 25 minutes of practice, so you'll be able to see a lot more images of practice tomorrow with all the media types getting in and getting a look at that. And then tomorrow after practice, we'll hear from some of the offensive coaches. They did announce today which coaches will be there. Offensive coordinator Matt Lubick will be there after practice to talk tomorrow. We'll hear some comments from him tomorrow night here on our program. Also, Greg Austin, offensive line coach, and Sean Beckton, the tight ends coach, And a select number of players will be made available after practice tomorrow. Probably some different ones than what we saw last week up on the 6th-4 when they had a kind of a quasi-media day. Probably bring some different folks.
Yeah, but they continue to spread it out, and so you're not getting so repetitive with the same guys asking the same questions because, right now I'm sure a lot of the questions that have been asked have not been answered yet. So let's spread it out and ask some different guys some questions, and then maybe by the next time they're available, there might be some more clear answers.
Could be. Scott Frost did say last Thursday that he would like to kind of send out a 2-deep projection, at least let the team know a couple of weeks into camp. We're not that far into it yet, but he'd like to do that so that maybe it can kind of have a settling impact on the team. Sometimes if you don't let the team kind of know where they fit until game week, you distract your game week prep by doing that.
Well, and also, we've heard a lot about the competition and how there's a lot of it this time around. But I think, when you don't have maybe as easy of an opponent out of the gate, you can't maybe keep that competition going as long because you need to get those starters settled in and figure out, what's the game plan for this huge game week or game one opponent. So, trying to get that settled in so you can start game planning with the guys that are going to be out there on the field for this game.
All right. Before we went on the show tonight, you made a comment to me. He was like, how does Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA, still have a job? There was a long-awaited gender equity report that came out today. Pretty scathing of the way the NCAA has run some championships. We've talked about it a lot in the last couple of months about the women's Final Four was a complete embarrassment. The NCAA tournament for the women this year was a complete embarrassment. The volleyball tournament, which was up in Omaha, was kind of like a club tournament. They had a softball game in Oklahoma City at that College World Series start at like 1 a.m. in the morning. I know you've perused this report. It's pretty scathing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what's crazy is I don't even know if this report even includes, because it was started to, they brought them in, this law firm, to conduct this, investigation. Pretty much it was in March, right after that video went viral from Sedona Price, who shout out to her for, bringing awareness to it because, that was kind of the thing that spurred a lot of this. But so I don't even know if this report even includes a lot of the softball issues. But yeah, just basically calling out the NCAA on how they have not provided the same, the equal opportunities and, calling on Mark Emmert to make some changes. And, I was looking up, so Mark Emmert just signed a contract extension in April. You have all this stuff with NIL, the fiasco with that, and then now here's another report. It's just, and the fact that you're calling on him to, for action. Why has it not already been taking place, So, I was basically coming out saying that it was all that the NCAA put too many ducks in the men's basketball basket and all of that. And so what are the eggs in the basket? What is that saying?
That's right. Eggs in the basket.
Or ducks in the basket. I don't know.
Ducks in a row. Ducks on the pond.
Well, putting too many eggs in the men's basketball basket and basically saying that they need to provide some funding to create for the women's programs to help create equity in that. And but it's long, it's lengthy, and saying that there was way too much emphasis placed on the men's tournament and not the same amount of care and consideration put towards the women. And it's a law. You've got to provide equal opportunity for these women's athletes. And it's the basketball tournament. You mentioned the volleyball, situation, and just so many issues throughout this last year that was not okay for women's sports.
Now, this past year was different because the entire tournament was held in one area. The women's was all in San Antonio. The men's was in Indianapolis. They did have to branch out to Purdue and Indiana's gyms for a couple of weekends. One of the suggestions, Jessica, is to put the men's and women's Final Four at the same site.
Yeah.
I don't know what people will think of that because I think the women like kind of being the only game in town somewhere. But this report says you're going to get more attention if you both are in the same city, whether it's Indianapolis or San Antonio or Atlanta or wherever it is going to be. I'll be interested to see what the reaction is from the powers to be of the women's sport because they've kind of liked having their own, going to a city and it's being all about them. I'll be interested to see what their reaction to that is.
I also do think, though, you look at, some of the conference tournaments that have been held in the same city, how that's really up to attendance in a lot of places because fans can go to both tournaments and just kind of go from one venue to the other. But Yeah, I mean, and it also said offering financial incentives, which I just mentioned, to schools to improve their women's basketball programs as a way to address the association's shortcomings. But it said, with respect to women's basketball, the NCAA has not lived up to its stated commitment to diversity, inclusion, and gender equity among its student athletes, coaches, and administrators. But basically just blatantly saying that they did not do this right, and you got to make some changes. But I don't know. I think, depending on what the women say, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, because I do think you're going to get some basketball enthusiasts that, no matter if your team's in it or not, that might go to watch both tournaments.
Well,
they might walk from one venue to the next.
Couldn't you do it over a 4-day period? And the men have traditionally been semis on Saturday, championship game on Monday. Couldn't the women do semis on Friday, championship game on Sunday? You have 4 straight days of basketball games. I think that would be really well done, and you have all the media at one spot. I think they would go cover both.
Yeah, I think so too. It would definitely, I think, solve a lot of the issues where you're talking about travel with media. They're not going to be able to travel people to both places, fans going to both games, and just the amenities that come along with that is going to be easier if it's in one spot as well.
I still remember the pictures of the weight room in San Antonio.
What
just a joke it was. You have better weight rooms in a lot of grade schools in this country than what they supplied there. So I'm glad they got called on the carpet of that. We'll see where this goes. I can't wait to even ask Amy Williams next time we get a chance to talk to her. What would she think about having Final Fours in the same cities? It'll be interesting to see what the reaction to that is.
Listen to this. They said, we urge the NCAA to revisit with its media partners all broadcast rights agreements that includes women's basketball, specifically its contract with ESPN. So ESPN getting called out for this as well.
And they have the broadcast rights to the women's tournament. Turner/CBS has had the men's tournament for quite a while. So you even have different networks involved, so there shouldn't be a programming issue about putting them letting them offset each other.
But it's the more so being fairly compensated for the product that the sport puts on the floor. So making sure that that's even equal, the amount of money that's coming in from the broadcast.
Yeah, but
revenue.
That's a tricky one, right? Because ad sales are going to be different for the two because of how many people watch, how many eyeballs watch each sport. I mean, that's going to be hard to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, you figuring out a way to maybe not have so much money going towards the men's. How do you because look, money is what makes things better, right? So That's what they're saying. You've got to financially compensate these women's programs so that, maybe that you can elevate some of the inequality. And so, if you can figure out a way to maybe, okay, if you're going to get all this money for the men's, maybe funnel a little bit of it to the women's programs.
You could do that. I'm just talking about from a broadcast standpoint and advertising rates. It's all based on eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right? Or in our case, people that are listening to the games. So that'll be a dicey one. But yeah, I absolutely. I would be a fan of putting them in the same site. We'll just see what the fallout is of this. I'm glad this report came out because those 3 championships were not well run at all, and the NCAA needed to be called out on that. All right, need to step aside, get a break in. Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. 402-413-2400, the number if you want to dot us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. We're back to talk to Ryan Held, Husker running backs coach, next.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Experience the highest levels of luxury at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. Our dedicated sales team is ready to guide you to your perfect vehicle. With a lineup of unique crossovers and SUVs, Lincoln offers insightful technologies, connectivity, and interior amenities, while you experience the highest sales satisfaction among all luxury brands. Visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact. Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef, raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero. But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed. A tip of the hat to Marco. And our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx background. For more successful IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
We're back, Sports Highlight here on a Tuesday night. Time to remind you to buckle up, put that phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Well, we continue our position breakdowns with a look at the group that's grabbed a lot of attention from Husker fans over the last several months. That's the running back spot. And I had a chance a couple of days ago to catch up with Ryan Held, Husker running backs coach, and we started off by just saying, what'd you learn about your group during spring practice?
Well, I was glad we were able to get a lot of guys out on in the spring game and be able to finish the last week and a half, 2 weeks with a lot of the guys. Obviously, Marquise didn't and Ramir didn't, but all the other guys did, which was big. And I think that really gave us a nice jump to get into the summer workouts, which has been really, really good for us. I'm excited about the room, but I also know that we have to be continually to work on getting our bodies right and getting our mindset right because this is a big year for us. We got to be able to run the football and be a major impact on this offense.
Let's go through this group. You've got a lot of guys that look like they have ability but just haven't had a lot of playing time. Marvin Scott got some carries for you a year ago. Where is he and where can he go?
Well, Marvin, was able to get some experience this fall in a couple of the games. He's really focused on continuing to get his body right and learning the plays. That's big for him, just the mental aspect and then detailing all that. But he's a talented young guy. He's very strong for his age, very mature body-wise. Now I have to just continually work on him in an everyday approach, coming to work every day with the right mindset to really be able to take his game to the next level and be a consistent performer for us.
Ramir Johnson's another name Husker fans would be familiar with. Where is Ramir in this, and where can he go?
Well, this is a big year for Ramir. He's shown flashes at times, but then has been inconsistent. He hurt his hamstring in the spring, which knocked him out. But now he's healed. He's having a really good summer. He's put on some weight, which is, in this league, you got to continue to put on to be able to, the wear and tear of the pounding that it takes. Ramir has talent, but he's got to come with the mindset that I'm going to be a physical running back that can run between the tackles. We know he can run outside, but he's got to be able to run inside. So I'm looking forward to fall camp to see what he does because there's a lot of competition in the room, and this is a situation where, don't talk about it, be about it.
An intriguing player to me, Coach, in your room is Sevion Morrison, and I know he's had issues with injuries and COVID and all those type of things. What are your expectations for that young man?
Well, with him, he's obviously had some bumps along the road, but his biggest deal has been to get his body healthy, to be able to get the eating thing right to where he can really lean up and be the explosive running back that he is. He has really taken this summer seriously. He's matured. So I've been on him, and we've been on him to really, when you're not around the football offices and weight room, what are we doing? Are we eating the right things? Are we getting the sleep we need? And he's really taken to heart to that. He's doing a lot of extra things. Sevion is talented. I'm excited about him, but I'm not satisfied because he has to show the consistent approach day to day that he can get this deal done, to have his body right day in and day out so I can count on him so he can go days in a row and not miss a day because of whatever. But I'm excited where he's at. He's had a really good summer.
In the spring game, I think maybe the most intriguing player to the fans was Jockey Ant, who really, I think, had a terrific spring practice sessions for you. Tell our audience a little bit about him and how much help can he be in this fall season?
Well, the Antnator is a guy that physically, you're just not going to find a better looking kid around. He's matured a lot. He had to redshirt last year, so he was able to make a lot of progress in the off-season program, in the redshirt program, in the scrimmages. He had a really good winter. And then, he was a guy that got a lot of reps. When you look at, I graded every play in the spring. He was up there in top 2 or 3 because he was able to get out there consistently and be able to practice. This summer's been big for him. He needs to continue to lean up because he's just a big guy. You don't realize how big he is, but he's got to have his diet right and everything, and just continually learning the plays. But he's a guy that's got a bright future. We just got to stay on him to be consistent, just like we spoke about Sevion.
Okay, let's get into visiting again with Ryan Held, Husker running backs coach here on Sports Island. Let's get into some new names to the program. They've both been on campus for 6-7 months. Gabe Irvin is the true freshman from Georgia who you got into the spring game for some things. What do you like about that young man?
Well, with Gabe, he's really had the right approach ever since he's walked in here in January. He's been very businesslike. He's been very focused. He wants to play. He wants to make an impact, and so he's really done a lot of things to put himself in position to make an impact as a freshman. He's got talent. He can run. He can catch the ball. He's smart. He loves the game of football. But he is a freshman, so we got to make sure that we're on him on everything that he does. He did really well academically, and he's a fun guy to be around. I think we got a guy there that has a bright future, but I'm not going to put anything on him that's bigger than what it is. He has to go out and take the business approach of coming to work every day, being a professional, taking care of your body. But I think he has a chance this fall to make an impact.
The other addition to your room was through the transfer portal, and that's Marquis Stepp, who got injured early in spring. You didn't get a chance to really fully evaluate him. Can he be a factor this fall?
Oh, absolutely. He was able to practice a couple days early in helmets, and so you were able to see that he's a guy that will hit the ball downfield. He's smart, as a football guy. He watches a lot of film. Obviously, we had to deal with a little injury thing that we got fixed, and he's really worked hard this summer. He's another guy that's just a big guy. When you look at him, you're very impressed with his physical appearance, but he's really leaning up and getting his body right. But he's a guy that we're counting on making an impact. But again, he's another guy that has to come every day with the approach of, I got to embrace the competition. I got to go there and, be a guy that every day I can, Coach Held and this football team can count on.
You were a walk-on the Husker program. I know you have walk-ons in your room, and I want to ask you about Cooper Jewett, a guy that he looks like he loves playing football. He has fun out there playing football. How about Cooper and his role for this team?
Well, he's a guy that's really worked hard. He's got tremendous feet, and he can run. He gives you a matchup when he runs routes that, he's as good as there is on the football team in some of these matchup situations on option routes and different things out of the backfield. So he's a guy that I, want to continue to get better. He's got to get better to be able to be at every down back. He's got to keep getting better on his pass protection just because he's not the biggest guy, so his technique and fundamentals there. But running mid-zone, being able to get wide and make it cut with his footwork, and he is not afraid of contact. He got the heck knocked out of him a lot of times in the spring, and you're barreling up in there. So he's done a really good job. But I think he's an asset to our team, a really good walk-on, and if he just continues to progress, I think he can really help our football team along the way.
You got to be chomping at the bit for camp, just because there's so many names and a lot of roles aren't decided yet for this group.
Well, this year, as the running backs coach, I'm definitely going to earn my money. It's a deal where when I come to work every day, I don't have anybody that's experienced, for the most part, and that makes it really exciting because we have a chance to continue to working with these guys to get them better. There's a lot of question marks out there. People are, wondering how the running backs are going to be. What does that look like? And so we have a chip on our shoulder. Our guys read what's out there, and they know that they got to go and they got to get it done. So at the end of the day, we can't worry about anything but ourselves in our room and getting it right on day-to-day and practice and meetings and being good teammates. We've got to be better in special teams. I've spoken about that before, but even more this year, we've got to be able to help our team on all phases of the game because we have talent in the room. Now we just got to be able to go out there, and I got to be able to count on guys when I come into work that I know who's going to be able to be someone we can count on day in and day out.
Have a good camp.
Sounds good. We're fired up.
There he is, Ryan Held, Husker running back coach. Got that done a couple of days ago. Obviously, they've had practices since we talked, but this is a fascinating room to me, Jessica. The one thing is you cannot have another season where your quarterback, in this case, Adrian's your leading rusher. You need somebody else to carry the load for this thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of question marks, but it definitely seems to be a group that he's excited about, that there's talent in the room, there's competition, and that he's got some guys that he thinks could step up and be that person, but it's just a matter of who is going to emerge as that guy throughout fall camp. But it sounds like he's got some guys that he's really, really excited about the potential there. And they're not really, like, other than Gabe Irvin, not like they're young. They've got some older guys, some experienced guys, so even though it's question marks and who's going to be the guy, it's not like they're just 5 freshmen in there.
And the thing that's impressive about him, and you've commented about this, there's some size in that room. There's some
they're
really
huge.
Good-looking athletes that are not tiny little backs.
Yeah, when I was in the cave shoot, standing next to a couple of them, I'm like, you're a running back? Like, they're huge. They're massive, and that's you've talked about the importance of you to kind of take a beating, when you're in the Big Ten. So you got to have some guys that can, sustain that. But yeah, they're massive. And Dave Ellis, I got a chance to talk with him for an upcoming podcast, and he talked about those guys of, trying to get their weight right, which, there's a number of guys in there that have to monitor that constantly about staying where they need to be weight-wise, but they're, really doing their part and trying to do that in the when they're eating, but also in the weight room and trying to take care of business so that they're ready to go.
Jacquez Yan is the one that's really going to have to watch the weight, and Ryan alluded to that in that piece there. Maybe we'll get an update tomorrow. Matt Lubick will be there, the offensive coordinator, after practice. Maybe he will shed some light on what's the first week has looked like for that camp in that particular room. I'm just fascinated by it. I just can't wait to get fast forward to August 28th and see which guys are in the kind of the rotation of that backfield. Because to me, it's fascinating. Competition usually gets somebody to rise to the top.
Yeah, and you know, we heard Scott Frost talking about he didn't want to do a running back by committee. He wanted, you know, number one guy, number two guy, and who's going to be that guy. And knowing that that's what they want to do, it's going to push the competition, and they've got it for sure. So yeah, going to be fascinating to hear what's kind of come about the first 5 practices. We heard Jeremiah talking about you don't want to be that guy who is the first guy to fumble and ball security and doing those things right. So it's beyond just scoring all the touchdowns. It's, are you doing all of those things that it takes to kind of secure that job and be that guy?
Very good. All right, folks, if you have some thoughts about that room, 402-413-2400. We'll back to take some calls, some texts. We'll check the chat room and give you some tough news for a former Husker baseball star. We'll tell you about that next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
The game isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the snacks they share after they've used up all their energy in the field. It's the early morning practice before school and staying late after to get a couple more kicks in. It's the pride they feel for their team and the determination to always keep improving. Sure, the game isn't always about winning or losing, but when they've won the big game and celebration is in full swing, there's only one thing left for you to do. Get them home safe. Buckle up and back. Paid for by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Stay up to date with the most current and latest news by following the Huskers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more. These social media homes provide the fastest daily updates on everything surrounding Nebraska athletics, including game times, results, ticket promotions, prize giveaways, and more. Log on to also follow several sport-specific pages and Husker head coaches. Join today and interact with thousands of Husker fans around the world. Visit Huskers.com/social media to see all of our accounts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus. Insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder for the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Sports Nightly Tuesday night. Thanks again to Ryan Held for giving me a few minutes to talk about the running back room, which I think is going to be a fascinating tale. And I know the media is going to be at practice tomorrow, is going to be all over watching that group go through whatever warm-ups or whatever they're doing when they're out there tomorrow. 402-413-2400, the number if you want to join us with a call or a text. What's going on in the chat room tonight?
Several questions. When does Kevin Warren make a move? Do we trust him to do that?
Don't know that we trust him. And again, and maybe I'll be proved wrong, I just think the Big Ten's going to step back for a while and kind of watch what happens here.
That one was from Andy Harris. And then also, Andy has a question. Is the Omar Manning videos hype real? Making an emphasis to put him in a lot of those videos that are posted up online right now.
Yeah, I've seen some people talk about that out there, that they think that he's being thrown out there on purpose. I don't know. We'll hear more from Coach Lubick tomorrow, who not only is the offensive coordinator but the wide receivers coach. We'll get an update for him on how Omar's doing. But hopefully Omar's is deserving those little splashes that they're putting out with him making a catch on. I hope that's the case because he's a really talented player.
Right. Ryan Gray says, go Big Red from Nashville. So
Nice.
Thanks for watching in Nashville. And he just said, how about these Kansas to Big Ten rumors, which you just addressed?
I think that's premature, right? I mean, I think, as you said, the guy who put that up, he backed off pretty quick.
Yeah.
His report. So I think, and we're going to have Brett McMurphy on next hour. We'll talk more about it there.
And then, I don't know, Attila Honey, I think. A big fan of Stephen Irvin, though, too. I'm not really worried about running back. And I think when we were talking about conditioning and the weight room, I think they've been doing what they've been asked to do. It's just a matter of they've got to make sure that they keep that weight down, is what we were talking about.
Jaquez Yan is the one he's just a big-bodied guy. And I think, he's one of those guys that looks at food and gains weight. Doesn't even eat it. Just looks at it and it gains weight. So I think that's one. So on our text line, Steve in Bellevue, I love men's and women's tournaments to be at the same site. My question would be accommodations for both, and that would eliminate many sites, including Omaha. Well, Omaha's not going to get a Final Four, at least not for the men. They might get a women's Final Four, but Omaha can still host one of the earlier rounds. That's a legitimate question. And the two cities that I know love having the Final Four are San Antonio and Indianapolis, which is where they were this year. That's a good question. I don't know. You need a lot of rooms for those Final Fours for both sides. Having them both at the same place, that might cause a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely would be some positives to that, but you would have to find the right spots. But I go back to, there's basketball fans that would travel to watch that much basketball, especially if, maybe you can't get in to the men's games. You maybe go watch it from a bar, one of those games, and then walk over and watch women's games live. I mean, if you can get tickets to one or the other, but still be around the atmosphere, it would be a cool concept if you could get them both in the same spot. But yeah, I mean, logistics is the problem.
Right. How many hotel rooms do you have? What do you need? And that type of thing. Let's head to the phones. John is up next here on Sports Sunday. Good evening, John.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. I think some people say Nebraska maybe win 7 games this year. I don't know.
Well, as Doc Satter likes to say, we're fixing to find out, right? That's what the games are about. So we'll see where this thing is.
So, don't count them. And I'll guarantee you one thing. I love Nebraska football, and Eddie Martinez is a good quarterback.
I would agree with you, John. Appreciate it. Thanks for the phone call. I agree. I think Adrian's set up to have a good year. I think he's got his mind right. I think he's got his body right. I think he knows that this could be his final year at Nebraska. He has the option to come back for another year. But Jessica, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think he's going to have a good season.
Yeah, and hearing that he's having a really good camp so far, and that, again, looks good, and just the mindset of it. We talked about last year is just such a hard year to even, use that as a measuring tool, but just every player has talked about he's got the mental part of it, and confidence is so important. And, when I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he talked about that. His confidence is at a whole nother level right now, and that is so important.
Anything in sports is about confidence and what do you think where you are mentally. It's such a big part of the game. I mentioned going into the break, we had some tough news for a former Husker baseball player. Jeff Passan, who covers Major League Baseball like no one, is reporting that Spencer Schwellenbach is now in need of Tommy John surgery. That breaks my heart. Spencer went in the second round to the Braves, signed for right around $1 million. I know he's had arm issues in the past. Tommy John is not the death wish that's not the death blow to pitchers anymore. The guys come back and are better after coming off Tommy John. So don't give up on him. I think this may be a decent thing for him.
Well, and of all the people that you would bet on to come back and be better from it, he's one of those guys. He has the right mindset and mentality, and the fact that the Braves kind of knew that there were some issues going into it, but still took him with that second-round pick, I think speaks to their belief in him that he's going to come back from this.
He signed for under slot money, and I'm told Spencer was very honest and open with him that he's having arm issues. They knew that going into it, and I think the fact that he did tell them that's probably why he didn't get quite as much money as he would have if they'd have known he was completely healthy. So tough news, but again, it's not the death blow to a pitcher anymore. And now they're coming back so fast off of that surgery too. They're getting back and ready to roll again. Let's go back to the phones. Pete in West Point's up next. Good evening, Pete.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
We got you, Pete. Go ahead.
Hey, can you explain what Ron Brown's role is going to be with the football team? In my estimation, he's probably one of the best assistant coaches Nebraska ever had. So if he's back in a coaching role, I guess I applaud that. But if you could explain what his role will be with the team, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the call. Yeah, he's turned into more of an analyst now, so he can actually break down film. He can help the coaches kind of script a plan for different players. Last year, he was just kind of a consultant, more of a guy that could go and talk to players off the field, kind of be there as a counselor for them a little bit. But he's getting more into the X's and O's this year with the team, and I agree with you, Pete. That is a good thing, I think, to have Ron Brown in that role. All right, we're late for the break. Still time if you want to be a part of Hour 1, 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. We're back with more next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Husker fans, the 2021 athletic season marks the beginning of mobile tickets for Husker sporting events. Tickets and parking passes for all sports will be available for download in your ticket account on the official Huskers app. It's a safe and easy way to guarantee your entry into some of the most exciting sporting events around. Simply download your ticket from your ticket account or the Huskers app and save to your mobile phone wallet before you leave home. Scan at the gate and enjoy the game. Go Big Red! Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
Final few minutes of hour one here of Sports Nightly here on a Tuesday night. Ron Brown has the official title of Senior Offensive Analyst, which means he can be out on the practice field with the team. Frank Verducci also has that title. Frank's been with the program for a couple of years. But again, Ron Brown kind of went from a player development role to a senior offensive analyst, which means he can really get out there on the field and work with the guys. I think that is a really good sign. I agree with Pete in that last call. On our text line, what do you guys think? Who do you think comes out on top in this running back rotation? I think Gabe Irvin's probably got the lean for me, Jessica. I think Savion Morrison might be the most talented guy, but I really feel like the true freshman who looked good in the spring game, who was here for the spring, I think and the wild card to me is the young man from USC, Marcus Stepp. We didn't see him in the spring. How healthy is he? Did some good things for the Trojans. Obviously, he's a talented kid if he played out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'll go the other way then. Since you're going with Gabe Irvin, I'll go with Savion Morrison. And, just, again, being that he's been in the system a little bit longer, seems to be really hungry and motivated. Saw a interview about him back in Oklahoma this spring working out, and seems to, again, like we've said about a lot of them, saying all the right things, but he is another guy that looks really good, physically. And so I'll give the nod to him, but I think Gabe Irvin is right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, just the comments that Coach Held gave us there. We, again, should get an update tomorrow from the coordinator, Matt Lubick, after practice tomorrow. I'm sure he will be asked about the running back position. Ryan Held not meeting with the media tomorrow, but certainly the offensive coordinator can talk about that. So we get offensive coaches tomorrow. We'll hear from the head coach for the first time since camp opened on Friday. So a couple of more media availabilities with the team this week as they get ready for the Fighting Illini coming up on the 28th of the month. Tim in Minnesota on our text line just said, as with receivers, I think there are plenty of others in Husker Nation are especially interested in who are going to be the every down backs for this team, and that's exactly right. You want somebody to kind of be the guy. You don't want just to say, well, we're going to go by committee. That means you may not have anybody. But that's what practice is for the next few weeks. Who can be the guy? That being said, though,
you can't just have one guy either. True. So, that's why I think we heard Scott Frost talking about you need one, you need two, and, figuring out who those guys are. And then the fact that you name those guys, but the competition doesn't stop there. I mean, and that's what Ryan Hill has talked about, the competition even going into the season, that even though you win it for game one doesn't mean that you're the guy for the remainder of the season.
Pretty cool that Simone Biles medaled, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was awesome. Good for her to come back and, just get up there. And that's what she talked about, not even really caring about winning the medal, but just kind of continuing to bring awareness to the mental health aspect of it, and that it needs to continue to be a conversation that's talked about.
So proud of her for being able to get up and get out there and compete and medal in the beam. If you want to watch it, NBC will have coverage tonight of the beam, which I believe is the last performance kind of for gymnastics. It's really winding down. Track and field is the one that gets cranked up. Mentioned in the ticker at the top of the hour, Sarah Pavin, who's playing for beach volleyball for Canada. She lost in the quarterfinals today, so her Olympics are over. But Team USA, with 3 Huskers on that squad, play the quarterfinals tonight. They're a big favorite over the Dominican Republic. If you can stay up past midnight, you can watch that match live. If you can't, DVR, watch it maybe tomorrow on the other part of that. All right, 1 hour in the books, another to go. Brett McMurphy from Stadium Sports, longtime writer of college football, is going to join us on the other side. We'll get his take on all the things that are happening with that. And we'll hear from Chris Kolarovic, who is one of the new additions to the linebacker room for the Cornhuskers. He's battling for that inside spot. So big hour straight ahead. Come on back.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Good evening. I'm Greg Sharpe, and here is tonight's sports ticker. The Husker football team had today off. The Big Red have had 4 of their 25 practices allowed before your first game. Practice 5 will be tomorrow. We'll hear from some of the offensive assistant coaches after practice. We'll have a full recap for you tomorrow night here on Sports Nightly. The Nebraska women's basketball team learned today that they will face Wake Forest on December the 1st as part of the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Wake was 12-13 a year ago, but did get a berth into the NCAA tournament. The game will take place in Winston-Salem. Nebraska is yet to release their full non-conference schedule. Turning to the Olympics, Simone Biles captured the bronze in the balance beam earlier today at the Games in Tokyo. The U.S. men's basketball team advanced to the semifinals with a 95-81 win over Spain. The United States will face Australia now in the semifinals. The U.S. women's basketball team will play Australia tonight in the quarters. The U.S. women's volleyball squad tangles with the Dominican Republic later tonight as well. That's also a quarterfinal match. In beach volleyball, former Husker Sarah Pavin, who competes for Canada, saw her Olympics come to an end, losing her quarterfinal match earlier today. The U.S. still leads the medal count with 73. China second with 69. China, though, with the most golds, 32 compared to the United States, 24. Turning to baseball, everything under the lights tonight. The Phillies lead the Nationals 1-0 in the 5th. The Yankees all over the Orioles, 5-0, bottom of the 3rd. Blue Jays have jumped ahead of the Indians, 3-0, that in the top of the 4th inning. Boston 2, Detroit 1 in the 3rd. Seattle 1, Tampa 1. They're also in the 3rd inning. The Reds lead the Twins 3-1 in the bottom of the 3rd. It's the Marlins leading the Mets 2-0 in the 3rd inning. Just getting underway, the Royals in Chicago to take on the White Sox. The Angels and Rangers down in Arlington. The Pirates and Brewers getting underway in Milwaukee. And the Braves and Cardinals about set to have first pitch in St. Louis. Later tonight, the Cubs are in Denver to take on the Rockies. The Padres will battle the Athletics. And the Giants and Diamondbacks in Arizona with the Astros and Dodgers in a rematch of the World Series, starting a series tonight in L.A. That is tonight's Sports Ticker. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends a pass, made Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the 5th. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then, I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome back. Hour 2, Sports Nightly here on a Tuesday night. Busy hour coming up. Going to hear from one of the Husker linebackers later in the hour. Talk to him after their 4th practice yesterday, again today. An off day for the Big Red, but we start the hour and delighted to welcome on board the program Brett McMurphy from the stadium. And Brett, great to have you on with us. I know you've covered an awful lot of college football in your days. Where does the last 3 weeks rank and what all the crazy things you've covered in this sport?
It's certainly at the top right now, but I think when we go back 2 or 3 years from now, this will certainly be the biggest thing that's impacted the future of college athletics. Because when you look at all the dominoes that will occur in the coming months and years, and I think it'll totally reshape college football as we know it now. But obviously that's what everybody's waiting on now, to see what happens with the Big Ten, the ACC, the Pac-12, et cetera, and also how soon Oklahoma and Texas can get out of the Big 12 for the SEC.
Brett, how impressed were you how quiet they kept that story? I mean, in this day and age of social media and guys like you who are out there and uncovering all this, turning over every rock, for Texas and Oklahoma to keep that quiet, that was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
No, it really was. And that shows, again, how badly Oklahoma and Texas wanted out and that they were able to keep it quiet. And also, I know a lot of people have criticized Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby as saying he was asleep at the wheel. How could he allow this to happen? Look, every round of conference realignment, you guys know this too. Whenever it happens, the league that you're leaving is the last to know. When the Big East broke up, I've actually called the Big East commissioner to tell him Pitt and Syracuse were going to the ACC. He didn't know. Nobody in their office knew about it. There wasn't one Big East school that had any idea about it. So that's kind of par for the course. But, yeah, kudos to Texas and OU for keeping us quiet. And, you just wonder, they talked to the SEC several months ago about this, but you wonder how far back those talks between Texas and Oklahoma initiated. Because, as you know, this isn't like an overnight decision. This isn't even a decision you make after 1 or 2 months. This is probably a year-long evaluation of your athletic department, of the conference, of the future of college athletics. Will we ever know how long OU and Texas started their dance? I don't know, but I would guess it was probably 12 to 18 months ago.
Visiting with Brett McMurphy here on Sports Sunday. I'm Greg Sharpe, along with Jessica Coody.
So Big 12 and Pac-12 meeting today. What is the likelihood of a merger there, or what do you think could potentially come from that meeting?
Well, it takes two to merge. So the Pac-12 obviously has the upper hand. They have the power, if you will. So it's basically their decision. Do they have any interest in doing that? The value of the Big 12 after losing Oklahoma and Texas, as Bob Bowlesby said the other day, will basically be cut in half, their TV revenue. So it's something that the Pac-12's got to decide. Do they feel they're a stronger conference by merging with the Big 12, all 8 members, or maybe some of those members? Does it bring more value per team to that league? And there's not a right or wrong answer on this. It's just basically your philosophy as a conference. The same with the Big Ten. Does the Big Ten feel the need to get to 16? Does the ACC feel the need to get to 15 and then hold that 16th spot for Notre Dame? That's something all the presidents will be getting all the TV data from their TV consultants. They'll be reaching out to the networks individually behind the scenes and saying, okay, if we add team A and B, what does that do for our media rights going forward? Then they'll present all that information to the university presidents, and then ultimately they will make that decision. Anyone right now that reports this is happening right now or this is definitely happening is so far off, because the conferences themselves don't even know what's happening, and they're trying to figure all this out. And I think a lot of that depends on how quickly Texas and Oklahoma make the move. And the other thing is, if you're one of the other Power 5 leagues, if you think everybody's going to 16 schools like the SEC, do you want to be the next to 16 so you kind of get your best pick? Or do you want to wait around and be the last to 16 and then your options aren't so great?
Yeah, I'm visiting Brett McMurphy here on Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network. Brett, you've been kicking the tires on some of the smoke that's out there about Florida State and Clemson. What's your gut say on that?
Yeah, that's totally bogus. I tweeted something just a couple hours ago, basically about the so-called reports that we've seen so far. I was being facetious. Unfortunately, we don't have a sarcasm font on Twitter. I wish they would change that. So we've had Kansas to the Big Ten reported tonight. That's imminent. West Virginia is in official talks with the ACC. Louisiana Tech and Louisiana to the Big 12. FSU and Clemson contacting the SEC, and then the American will raid the Big 12. Yeah, that's not really good reporting. It's baseless rumors. So unfortunately, we're going to see a lot more of that stuff. But that's just kind of the world we're in. With somebody throws something on Twitter, enough people retweet it, and it spreads like wildfire, and then people believe it's actually the truth.
So the 12-team playoff, expanding to 12 teams of the college football playoff. Obviously, ESPN owns the rights to the 4-team playoff currently. How much do you think maybe other networks may be getting involved and trying to earn some rights in the 12-team if that expands? Might maybe prevent ESPN from really getting a stronghold on all of this?
Well, that's a great question, and that's something that's come up, very recently, because the current 14 playoff, we still have 5 years left in it. The thinking was, by going to a 12-team playoff, they would like to do that after 2 more seasons. If they do it after 2 more seasons, ESPN would renegotiate the deal with the 10 conferences and Notre Dame to come up with the new money for that new contract for the 12-team playoff. However, because of kind of the weird feelings going on right now with ESPN and other leagues, there's a mounting push to maybe say, you know what, let's let the 14 playoff finish out its 5 years, then we'll start negotiating for the new 12-team playoff, because by letting the 14 playoff contract expire, then that opens up the ability of Fox, of Amazon, of Apple, of Netflix, of Husker Sports Network, whoever it is, to get into the bidding process. But if the playoff ends before the 12 years is up, it's only ESPN will basically renew the deal once it reaches an agreement with everybody. And so people are wondering, are we leaving money on the table if the ESPN doesn't have anybody to negotiate with? That's a valid question. And again, one of the unanswered questions and ones to keep an eye out on over the coming months and years.
Brett, folks around here are a little nervous about Kevin Warren. I mean, he's fairly new to the job, new to college sports. How much influence do you think Barry Alvarez will have on Kevin now that he's a consultant or a liaison or whatever title they've given him in the Big Ten office?
Yeah, I mean, I like Kevin, and I think he's going to do it. I think he'll do a good job. Certainly, he didn't have the greatest start. And I would like to think that some of that's because of inexperience. But certainly you bring on somebody with the reputation, the knowledge, institutional knowledge of Barry Alvarez. And, he's been around the block. He's coached more interim bowl games than anybody on the face of this earth. So he knows how to get things done, and I think that'll be a big help. But, specifically about the Big Ten, and I don't know the answer to this, is do they feel strongly they need to get to 16? I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the speculation that Kansas and Iowa State are AAU schools and seem like the most logical fit because the ACC schools have 15 years left on their media rights deals, and it's unlikely they would be able to get out of that. So does the Big Ten want to add 2 more AAU members to get to 16? Would it increase the value for the league? Probably not. But is there a feeling that there's more strength in numbers in a 16-team league than only having 14? Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but that's a decision Kevin Warren has to make. He has to get with his presidents and make that decision, and I'm sure Barry Alvarez is going to be a big voice in that room if they ever come to that point where they want to make a decision on whether to pull the trigger, or if they make the decision of, you know what, we're fine, we're going to stay at 14 for a couple more years, and then we'll look at the landscape and see if there's anybody out there we want to go after.
We've seen some of the voices in college football talking about how this is changing the traditions and all of that. How do you feel about where the direction of college football is potentially going?
As a college football fan, I don't like it overall because we're going to see 4 16-team super conferences. And look, if you're Nebraska and other traditional schools like that, and you're in the 64 Power 64, you're going to love it. You're going to have great matchups every week. It's going to be even better than it is now. But then the offshoot is the Group of 5 leagues. Those things, probably won't be able to survive. They'll be separate from the power leagues. Do they merge with the FCS? Do some schools disband their football programs? That's going to be the fallout that I'm going to hate to see. Obviously, being able to watch, Oklahoma play Alabama in a conference game is going to be great. To see Texas play Georgia in a conference game will be great. But it's just all the resulting dominoes that will impact the entire face of college football is going to be taken away. And I hate that because that's what I love about college football. You've got some teams running the wishbone. You have schools attempting, 63-yard field goals to get returned for a touchdown. You never see that in the NFL. The NFL to me is a cookie-cutter league. Everybody does the same thing. The games are all basically the same, in my opinion. And in college, you've just got such a wild disparity of events. You never know what's going to happen. 7 or 8 overtimes. Obviously, that's not going to happen anymore. But that's the beauty of college football. And I'm afraid when we get to these power leagues and they're all just playing each other, I'm afraid we're gonna lose some of that. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's what I'm fearful of.
Brett, I know you used to work for him, but we've kicked around, has ESPN become too big? Have they had too much influence in college sports? And I don't know what you do about it, but your thoughts about a company you used to get a paycheck from?
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of probably not a apples to apples comparison, but when you say have they gotten too big, you could argue both sides of it. But the analogy I would make is, has Alabama become too good in football? Well, if you're an Alabama fan, you say no. If you're not an Alabama fan, you say yes. Well, what's the alternative? Well, you beat Alabama. Then you don't have to worry about Alabama anymore. You beat Clemson. You don't have to worry about them going to the playoff every year. You beat Ohio State. You don't have to worry about them going to the playoff every year. So with ESPN, everybody, can give their opinions on, have they gotten too big? Do they control the sport, et cetera, et cetera? Well, any other media company is welcome to throw millions and millions of dollars to televise bowl games, college football playoff, conference packages, and take over that control. Nobody's been able to do that. So, I guess if you're a fan of ESPN, you like that. And if you don't like ESPN, you probably don't like that. So I'm not trying to sit on the fence. I'm really trying to answer your question, but I don't think it's fair either way to say, oh yeah, ESPN's great for college football, but I also don't think it's fair to say ESPN has ruined college football either. I just think they've taken advantage of some opportunities. They're the biggest bully on the block, and they've got the most money, and those guys usually win the fights.
You talked about earlier just, conferences not even really knowing, what's going to happen right now and kind of waiting to see when Oklahoma and Texas go. When do you think we'll start knowing some of these answers, when there might be some clarity in all of this?
I would guess probably in, what is this, August? I would say by December, maybe January at the latest. I don't necessarily know if they will know by then if they're going to join in 2022. But maybe by then they may say, look, we're definitely not coming in 2022. We're now setting our sights on 2023. There's a lot of upcoming media rights deals involving the Big 12, involving the SEC, involving ESPN, speaking of ESPN, taking over CBS's SEC deal. And so maybe they want to get all those synced up. So it'll be a few months. And then the other question is, does the Big 12, obviously we've seen how emotional Bob Bowlesby's been about this. We've seen my alma mater's Oklahoma State, the OSU president has come out and blasted Oklahoma. So there are a lot of unhappy campers in the Big 12 right now, but will they take a deep breath and take a step back and look at the settlement options and how much money they can make by allowing OU and Texas to leave, and go ahead and allow them to do that? I don't think that'll come quickly. I think that'll be a few months at the earliest. But I would think probably around the national title game, mid-January, maybe we have a better idea, but we may not. This could drag on for a while because lawyers like billable hours, and the longer they can stretch this out, the more money they make.
No doubt. Brett, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Next time we get you on, let's talk about players and games and that kind of stuff. Is that okay?
What is that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Have a great night. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Brett McMurphy from Stadium joining us, and obviously a guy that's been around college sports for a long, long time. A lot in there. Probably more questions than answers, and I think that's kind of where we are and going to be for a while.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows, and like we've talked about the Big Ten kind of sitting back and seeing where this thing goes and what's going to be best, but not making any rash decisions on this deal. But yeah, I think, when is Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, and then start making decisions from there. But yeah, it's kind of wild times we're living in right now.
Sure is. All right, you have some thoughts about what Brett touched on there, 402-413-2400. Call or text. We're back to get some of your reaction to that. And we'll also hear from one of the new linebackers for this Husker football team, Chris Kolarovic, who is a transfer from Northern Iowa, took advantage of that one-time transfer rule. Now he's a Husker, looking to make a big impact on this defense. We're back with him next.
The game isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the snacks they share after they've used up all their energy in the field. It's the early morning practice before school and staying late after to get a couple more kicks in. It's the pride they feel for their team and the determination to always keep improving. Sure, the game isn't always about winning or losing, but when they've won the big game and celebration is in full swing, there's only one thing left for you to do. Get them home safe. Buckle up in back. Paid for by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer. Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night of Sports Nightly here on the Husker Sports Network. Thanks again to Brett McMurphy for spending some time with us tonight to shed some light. He did have a really funny tweet a couple of hours ago, and I think we read it earlier in the program about, well, in the last couple of hours you have Kansas moving to the Big Ten is imminent, and this is happening. And he's like, all of that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because these conferences don't know what they're doing right now.
Yeah, he said it's just bad reporting at this point. You're just throwing stuff out there just to, try to maybe make a splash of a headline, get some tweets, some clicks, and it's just nobody knows right now. So stop trying to say that you know, that you heard this, that your source told you this, and let's wait it out.
That's really been bad, I think, down in Oklahoma. A lot of Oklahoma State people, Kansas people have been doing some of this, Iowa State folks. So, and hey, I get it. Their heads are spinning. They don't know what's going to be happening, and that lends itself to some pretty wild speculation and reporting.
Yeah, when I was in Oklahoma a couple weekends ago for my dad's ceremony thing, it was all of the reports were sources saying that Oklahoma State going to the Big Ten, and I think we've pretty much established that's probably not happening right now. So what sources are telling you that Oklahoma State's going to the Big Ten? Because I don't think that's legit right now.
Just wild stuff out there, but we'll try to cipher through the junk and give you the real stuff as when we do get that. All right, had a chance after practice yesterday to talk to Chris Kolarovic, who is the linebacker transfer from Northern Iowa. Huskers really happy to have him a part of that linebacking room. He played well in the spring game and looks like he'll be a big part of this Husker football team coming into this next season. Here's my conversation with him from yesterday.
It's been really good. It was really helpful to get here in the spring. I think just get a feel for the playbook, get a feel for the Lincoln, and get a feel for the guys around here. I was really glad I got here in the spring, but the transition's been really smooth because of the people around here.
Terminology, you caught up on all that? You feel comfortable with that?
Yeah. I think it took me a week or two. There's some things that are opposite, like there's like a Rip Liz that's an opposite from my old school, things like that. Just had to think about that for a second, but it's becoming more natural. I'm getting more used to the calls, and it's getting a lot easier.
Coaches have raved about you. Do you feel like you're trying to prove yourself because you're coming from the FCS level now to the Big Ten level?
Absolutely. Always got a chip on my shoulder. I came out of high school. I didn't have a single FBS offer. That was just how it was. I wanted to. I just didn't get one, and ended up going to UNI, and I loved it there. It was an awesome place, but I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder like that forever because there wasn't a school that believed I was good enough to play at that level. So.
Tell me how the first 4 practices have been.
They've been awesome. We were, as a defense, I think we're flying around. Everybody, I think we're a veteran group. We kind of understand how to prepare, how to get our bodies right and our minds right, and I think we're really playing well as a whole, and everybody's flying around to the ball. So.
This team has had a hard time getting turnovers. Has that been kind of an emphasis at all from the coaches?
Definitely. That's kind of, especially in the linebacker room, Coach Rude's emphasizing every day. We're getting second guy to the ball in practice. First guy's going to thud up, second guy's going to punch the ball out. So that's kind of been an emphasis. That's an important thing in our defense for sure. What's
the competition like at your spot right now?
We're all just working as hard as we can every day, doing our best and showing up every day to practice, and we're helping each other out and doing our best. So.
You ready for a game here in a few weeks?
Yeah, it's been a while. They actually just asked me that. It's been, I think, since November 2019 I played in a game, so it's been a while, and I'm fired up for it. It's been almost 2 years. So
first chance for me to meet him, and I had not thought about that because FCS didn't play until this past spring. He'd already transferred to Nebraska. That's almost 2 years since he's played a football game.
Yeah, I was impressed when you were interviewing him, just in his story about not having any offers out of high school and how he's got a chip on his shoulder. And I think he's going to provide some help in that room, some depth and some competition. An older guy that has played some football, even though it's been 2 years. But in the chat room, we had some people raving about him, thinking he's going to be some help as well, provide some help.
I think he will be. I think, he's definitely, Barrett Rube was asked about rotations yesterday. He goes, well, we're not quite there yet, but I'm pretty sure, barring an injury to Chris, he'll be one of those 3 or 4 guys that's going to get snaps in that inside linebacker position. So good to have him here. He and Samari Torre, 2 guys from the FCS level that have landed in Lincoln. Samari was at Montana. Coaches like both of them. And that, if you can go find a little gem like that, that can really plug a hole in your football team.
Well, again, coming in, feeling like you have something to prove, having a chip on your shoulder, showing that you can do it at this level. And, also probably 2 guys that trying to make a case for maybe some NFL teams to take a look at him as well, especially Samori. What he can do on this level to get scouts' attention to maybe give him a shot in the NFL. But 2 guys proven at their that have come in and have smart guys that know the game and have already provided some leadership that was needed at those positions. So yeah, I think think two big gets that we'll be anxious to see how that translates on Saturdays.
No doubt. Good. Enjoyed talking with him, and hope you enjoyed listening to that. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office, 402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, you can also jump in that chat room and fire something off at Jessica or myself. We're back with more Sports Nightly next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at WoodhouseFord.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact. Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams.
Help!
Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night, 402-413-2400. The number if you want to dot us up with a comment or question as we motor our way toward the start of another season of sports here at Nebraska. We'll have some soccer exhibitions here in the next week or so. Volleyball will have their red-white scrimmage 2 weeks from Saturday. Husker football will kick it off on the 28th in Champaign against the Fighting Illini. A noon kick for that first game of the year. Had Brett McMurphy from Stadium on earlier, and you asked him about the meeting today between the commissioners from the Big 12 and the Pac-12. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on that.
I know.
Picked up what they were talking about.
You wonder how much, which he talked about, the Pac-12 has the upper hand. Bob Bowlesby trying to, salvage what he can. What happens if they do merge? Is Bob Bowlesby become assistant commissioner?
Possibly.
Like,
if they were to merge, it would be, a 20-team league, unless you don't bring all 8 of the Big 12 teams over. I don't know, because I think a lot of people feel like if there's going to be kind of a conference that saddles up with the Pac-12, that it would be the Big 10 in some kind of a scheduling arrangement. And the other thing, is this football only, or is this going to affect all the sports? I think there's some possibility here for maybe having football-only leagues and then try to regionalize your other sports so that your travel isn't so crazy for all your other sports.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that discussion, since all this has kind of come into fruition about geography doesn't matter anymore. It used to be kind of play into this. How do they fit geographically into your conference? But man, it's one thing to have, a football team travel on Friday to get to a place to play on Saturday, and then you come right back. But it's another when you're talking basketball teams playing on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night and then missing class, and you got to get there and not just play, you got to get there the day before. So you're talking about missing maybe 3 days of class to be able to play one game. And how that factors in for these student athletes. They are athletes, but they're students first. And obviously, Nebraska has made a big commitment to the student part of that. So how do you factor in staying on top of all of that as well? It's hard to do.
Yeah, that's going to take somebody smarter than me to figure all that out. But it would make some sense to me if you just want to go football, because it's 1 day a week. It's 12 games. Half are at home. You're not traveling. Maybe half are on the road, usually less than half. So you're not really missing a lot of school time. But for the basketballs, the volleyballs, the soccers, everything else where there are multiple events, maybe it would make more sense to regionalize things. On our text line, this is good. We're lucky to have Garth Brooks coming to Lincoln, his last show before taking a break due to COVID precautions. That is correct. Garth has shows in Kansas City and Lincoln scheduled, but he's going to examine anything and sell tickets to anything after those shows because of what's going on with COVID right now. But the Garth concert here is not in danger of being canceled. So that's good news for people that are already plunk down their hard-earned money for that show.
Yeah, and I know it's a lot of excitement surrounding that. And I saw Garth once. It was a shortened little set for a fundraising concert, but he was great. So I know a lot of people getting to see him for the first time. A lot of people I've talked to, this will be the second, third, fourth time that they've seen him. So I know he puts on a good show, and so I'm glad that it's still going to be able to happen here before he does take that break.
He has shows in Kansas City and here, and then his next stop isn't until September in Seattle, but he says he's put a pause on that because he just wants to see where things are going with all that. So if somebody may have caught wind of that, you can breathe easier because he is going to be showing up in Lincoln. That's a week from Saturday. That thing's really quick to be here.
And the revenue that's going to come in from that for lots of different things, from the, eating out and, going to the bars to drinking, the staying in town, the hotels, all of the revenue that comes in with that is big for the city as well.
Let's shift focus back to the Olympics. We talked about Simone Biles being able to compete. She did medal in the final event of the Olympic Games for women's gymnastics. Team USA men's basketball has played a little bit better. After losing their opening game to France, they've rattled off some wins. They beat a good Spain team in the quarters. They'll now play Australia, who actually beat them a few weeks ago in Vegas, kind of in a precursor to the games. But they are playing a little bit better basketball.
I watched that game last night. Ricky Rubio went off. He played out of his mind. Yeah, kind of a little bad start, but Kevin Durant has really been fantastic. As an Oklahoma City fan, I was not a fan of Kevin Durant, how he kind of left and went to Golden State, but he's getting some brownie points for me with how he's kind of carrying Team USA. He is a problem in that international play, how he can shoot, and they got hot there in the third quarter. So I think they're figuring some things out, and he's going to continue to be a matchup problem for teams.
I think he loves playing international basketball. He was good on an Olympic team a few years ago. Do you like the FIBA rules? Because the rules are different than NBA or college.
I don't. I hate how there's no goaltending.
You don't like that? I think that's cool.
I was like, God, that should be a point. But I think it's more so I'm just not used to it, as opposed to like there were several, baskets that should have gone down that, they tipped out, but then it went in USA's favor on the other end. So it's just kind of hard to get used to when you're so used to watching the goaltending rules. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I don't like it, but then when it benefits your team, obviously you like it. But
I think the game is a little bit more free-flowing than obviously the NBA, which is such a pound and ground league where they just really so physical in there. I love the free-flowness of the international rules. And I think college basketball has adopted some of those free-flowing rules, but I'm not bothered at all by the no goaltending thing. Get up there and swipe that thing away. Get it out of there.
Oh, I don't like it. I guess maybe I think if it goes down, if it's in the rim, you can't knock it back out.
Think about how much easier it is to officiate that.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. And so many, those are such a tight call to make, whether you get it on the apex and you tap it away
if it's
or not.
Going down through the net, though, it's like that should count. You shouldn't be able to knock it back out.
Yeah, that is true.
So, but no, I mean, it's been a fun game. And I think that's part of, some of these guys adjusting to some of that. They had not played together. They had not played many international contests leading up to the Olympics. So kind of just getting a feel for it.
There's a lot of NBA guys running around out there.
Yeah.
On all the teams.
Yes.
Everybody's got a guy or two that plays in the NBA. The sport's really gone international. It really has.
Yes.
It's a worldwide sport.
And, Luka talked about how much winning a medal for his country, that would mean more to him than winning the NBA Finals. And so the way that Team USA has dominated this for so long, you're seeing a lot of guys going to play for their home country to try to give them a chance to win a medal, because it is a global sport. The sport means a lot to a lot of people in a lot of different countries. So to be able to provide a gold medal for a country is huge for these guys.
Every year during the NBA draft, you get reminded of that, because they'll take guys from France and Germany and Australia, and you're like, oh, I've never heard of that guy because I follow college basketball, and then they come and they end up having. I mean, you look at Joker, who was the MVP this past year. He's a foreign player. You mentioned Luka, foreign player. I mean, the game has really exploded across the globe, and it makes it for a really fun game. The women played later tonight. They play Australia about 11:40, and women's volleyball plays later tonight as well.
I do think it's been interesting, though, that Team USA wanted to go small. They wanted to get the shooters, and it kind of didn't bode well for them, especially against France. But they're kind of figuring it out a little bit, and how to kind of play with those shooters and being small. But for so long, they had a dominant big man on the floor, and that helped them. But now they decided to kind of go small and have the shooters, and they did not shoot the ball well. If you're not shooting the ball well, that could bite you. But they shot it a lot better in the second half last night.
The women's gap has been pretty wide. The United States, it has, in my eyes, just watching some of the games in the last, it has narrowed too. The world's catching up to the U.S. women much more so. The men, they're there. I mean, it's pretty darn even now. The women has gotten closer.
Yeah, and I think, again, just the way that the game has grown globally, not just for, young boys watching the NBA and wanting to, play in that, but also for young girls. We've seen a lot of, look at Nebraska women's basketball and the Australians that are here, and just the players from overseas that want to come play collegiate basketball over here, and then potentially make it in the WNBA, or it just is a global game. So continues to grow all the way around.
Sure is. We're winding down the games. They'll end this weekend. How about that? How quickly did that fly by?
I know everybody? It's so long, but then it's like you look up and it's, man, it's over.
Yep.
So
Week 2.
We had a comment from Michael McKinney in the chat. Let's get to the serious stuff. When are they going to serve steak at the stadium concessions? Greg, please answer.
Steak? What, do you want somebody out with a grill doing that? I would not hold my breath for when steak is going to be appearing at the concession stands. I don't think that's probably anytime soon. Yeah, can you imagine some big grill fired up and all the smoke coming out of the stadium with Big T-bone on the grill for that. I mean, I love a good T-bone, but I don't know that I see that happen at the concession stands. Good comment there. Appreciate that. Hey, buckle up. Put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Keep them coming. 402-413-2400. More of Sports Alley straight ahead.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
We're back. Sports Highlight final segment. Still time if you want to be a part of the program with a call or a text. 402-413-2400. Day 2 of the NBA free agency. Yesterday was crazy. Today, same thing. And your Lakers, Jessica, just keep adding talent upon talent.
I am not a Lakers fan, but you said it. They're old. How are they going to compete?
Carmelo Anthony has agreed to terms with the Lakers. He is one of the oldest guys in the league, 37. He came in the league the same year LeBron. I think he's a year older than LeBron, but they've re-signed Dwight Howard. He's been in the league an awful long time. They're bringing back some of their other parts that have played there in the past. Who was one of the names I saw? Ariza is back with them. So that's an old group, though.
Do you have an NBA team?
I really don't. Here's the ages I found them. Carmelo's 37, LeBron's 36, Gasol's 36, Ariza is 36, Dwight Howard's 35. Russ is 32. He's not exactly a young guy. I mean,
and he can't really. He's not going to be able to play how he plays for very much longer. He plays really, really hard and really, really fast. And I like Russell Westbrook, but some of the ways that, like, Kevin Durant will probably be able to play a lot longer the way his game is, as opposed to someone like Russell Westbrook. So at some point, you can't play like that. Your body won't allow you to. It'll catch up to you. 5
players over the age of 35 on the Lakers roster.
That's crazy.
It's almost half your team is 35 and plus.
And all guys that have had trouble staying healthy
Right?
already.
It's a recipe for disaster, I would think, for them. That would break my heart. They've been really active in this thing. The draft was last week. It's crazy because the NBA just wrapped up 2 weeks ago. We had the final game with the Suns and the Bucks winning the title. Then you had the draft. Now you have free agency. They're doing a pretty good job of kind of keeping the NFL off the front page a little bit here.
I know.
Hard to do.
Speaking of, did you see Hard Knocks trailer released? Are you going to be in on that?
I didn't see it. It's out?
Well, just a quick trailer talking about America's team and the Dallas Cowboys, and tune in. I think August 8th is when it drops. So should be full of drama.
I love Hard Knocks. I do.
I do too.
They do such a great job with it. They really set the bar pretty high for television sports when HBO created that 20 years ago.
It's kind of funny how you watch that and you think every team that goes through that, oh, this is their year. And then a lot of times it's like, yeah, nope.
That's right. Crazy stuff. There is an NFL game coming up on Thursday. It's the Hall of Fame game. I think Cowboys are involved in that too. I think it's Steelers and Cowboys. They are enshrining this weekend not one but two Hall of Fame classes. Because of the pandemic last year, they were not able to get the 2020 Hall of Fame class enshrined in Canton. So they're doing that. And then another day, they're doing this year's class. So they're not doing them all on the same night. They're going to have two different ceremonies. I saw Brendan Stye earlier today. He was flying back. He's going back to go take it in. So good for him.
That's awesome. I'm glad they're getting to have their due, being that, last year kind of, put a damper on the parade. So glad that they're going to get to honor them and have their own night and own celebration.
That's cool. So, yeah, it'll be fun. That always kind of signifies football's here. I know it's an exhibition game. I know it doesn't count. But to see two NFL teams, their uniforms out on the field, kind of gives you chills. And you know that more good things are around the corner and heading our way. I've been watching some NBC coverage. They have not yet gone to the gymnastics. So we're like 14 hours after that took place, and they still haven't started showing it yet here tonight.
And we talked about the ratings for NBC have been way down, and right? I wonder how much that's played into it. That, last night I was watching the coverage, and they said Simone Biles set to compete here in about 5 hours. That was about 9 o'clock, and they were pushing watching the streaming platforms last night because I think they knew the interest was going to be there to watch the streaming of Simone competing on the beam. So, I wonder how much that's played into it, that, maybe people are tuning in. Like last night for the, USA basketball, I watched it live on, the stream on the NBC Olympics app. So I don't know if maybe that's kind of played into it, but now that they're pushing people, hey, if you don't want to watch it in prime time, you could watch it at 5 hours, at 2 or 3 a.m.
Some people have to work.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to go to work at 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock. Can't stay up all night like you night owls can do to stay up. But it is drawing to a close. I think there's been some great storylines. Obviously, the Simone Biles issue has grabbed a lot of the headlines and opened a conversation that I'm glad that we are dealing with as a society, and that is the mental health issue. There were great stories in the pool. Caleb Dressel has been phenomenal for Team USA in the pool. And there'll be some more. There'll be some more really cool stories, I think, come out of track and field as we make our way
Sydney
through.
McLaughlin, she's been a superstar. Phenomenal. What's she going to do? So, yeah, there's some really intriguing stories that are still to come on the track. I love watching track, and I love watching the relays.
I do, too.
And the 4x400 mixed relay, which we talked about, added to this Olympics. So watching that play out, and there's been some dramatics, even though there hadn't been fans. It's still been pretty fun to watch,
and
pretty entertaining.
Disappointments too, right? I mean, the USA women's soccer not getting into the gold medal match is a disappointment. USA softball losing the gold medal match to Japan. There's certainly been disappointments as we made our way through, but that's part of it, right? That's part of it, the highs and the lows of winning and losing.
Yeah, and it's the fan part has been really sad, but I think some of these athletes that train and how big of an emphasis or how big of a deal that's been, especially for gymnastics, track and field. You're used to having a roaring stadium. How many false starts we've seen because of the echo in the stadium. So it's definitely played
Don't they
a
need to
role
relook
in
at that rule?
Yeah, because people it's one false start, you're done. You're
that's
out.
a little strict to me.
Yeah, and it's happened several times.
And I understand you don't want to give everybody a chance to do that. It could get silly, but that just seems like a really strict penalty.
Especially this year with the echo and the, it's definitely played a role in that and the noise effects of that.
No doubt. All right, good show tonight. Thanks to Jessica. Thanks to Mike, to Andrew for putting this all together. Tomorrow we'll have a full practice report. Huskers back on the practice field tomorrow. We'll hear from Matt Lubick, the offensive coordinator, tomorrow night. We'll have some other things cooked up for the program as well. Thanks for listening tonight. Have yourself a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Nebraska Athletics are hiring event staff for the 2021 home football season. Our #1 requirement, be passionate about Husker football and ready to provide the ultimate fan experience for the greatest fans in college football. As part of the event staff, you serve Husker Nation and check out live game action inside Memorial Stadium. Apply right now and help kick off the Husker football season by working the Garth Brooks concert. For more information and to apply, visit huskers.com/event staff. Go Big Red.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed